We are just under 2 weeks away from the start of the NHL regular season, and we need to dig deep right now with a little rookie Russian roulette. Let's get right into it.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast, making it your first listen every single day. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode. And like you heard right off the start of this episode, we are taking a deep dive into some of the rookies heading into this upcoming season. I know Flip and I have discussed some of the rookies over the last couple of weeks. Jack Quinn, Alex Newhook, guys who are getting some opportunity. Cole Perfetti, which we're going to get into as well. We've talked about some of them. And we sort of analyzed that in that episode where we took a look at my second fantasy draft for this upcoming season, taking a shot, taking a risk at some of the rookies heading into the upcoming season in the last 3, 4, maybe even fifth round of your fantasy hockey draft. So that's what we're going to be looking at right now. Maybe taking some risks, taking some gambles on some of the rookies heading into this upcoming season who are going to get some of those big time opportunities with to start off their NHL career in some of these big name clubs as well. And really the two guys I want to start with are with the Ottawa Senators rookies heading into this upcoming season. We talked a little bit about this with the Locked On Sens guys on their podcast. Make sure you go check out their podcast and YouTube. Go subscribe. Go follow them. They're doing a ton of great stuff. But yes, we joined them for an episode just a week ago, actually. We talked about some of their rookies. And two of the guys we talked about, Shane Pinto and Jake Sanderson. And I really think these are two guys to keep an eye on and look out for this upcoming season. As of right now, Shane Pinto is rostered only at 3%. So not a guy that is on a lot of people's radars right now, fantasy-wise, but I think he should be. So he's only rostered at 3%. Jake Sanderson is rostered at 55% across Yahoo leagues right now. So he's definitely getting the attention that I think he deserves right now. And I really do think he's going to get some great opportunity, a big opportunity to jump into some different roles and key aspects of the Senators lineup. In his rookie season as a defenseman as well. But Shane Pinto only at 3% right now. I really do believe these two Senators can make an immediate impact with this franchise. And Pinto has already gotten a taste for the NHL as well. Back in 2020, he had 7 points in 12 games. Last year, I believe he had 1 point in 5 games. Not a ton there, but he was dealing with a shoulder injury that really sidelined his season. He had to get surgery, I believe it was. So Pinto, he's going to get a taste again this season. He's going to be in the top 9 forward group. He's going to be between Alex Formenton, on that third line, centering those two guys for the Ottawa Senators. So keep an eye on Shane Pinto. I really do believe he's going to make an immediate impact as well. He's going to get power play time. He's going to get penalty kill time, both on the second unit. So keep an eye on that. And I don't think it's far-fetched at all that we can expect a guy like Pinto, maybe even Sanderson as well, to record 30 to 35 points this upcoming season. So it's not going to be a breakthrough season, but again, it's definitely going to be somewhere heading in the right direction. And I don't think it's far-fetched at all for those two guys, rookies of the Ottawa Senators, to get 30, 35, potentially even 40 points. Jake Sanderson will definitely need to somehow get that opportunity, but keep an eye out, put them on your watch list, because those are two guys that I am really fond of heading into this upcoming season. And you should be too, because they have some pretty spicy Calder odds right now on both these guys. Jake Sanderson plus 1,600, Shane Pinto plus 5,000 for the Calder, and maybe a little sprinkle in the future for those guys who I think I might as well. But where you should place those bets, betonline.net. They are your number one source for all your sports betting information. Football info this season. Find all the latest player developments, teams, matchups, news, and podcasts, and in-depth articles and analysis on every game you can find. And as always, BetOnline is your number one source for all your information, your sport wagering information, live betting, and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf. And like I said, I've already placed a couple of bets. They have the best odds out there. So head to betonline.net or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and actions. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Once again, make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the follow button. Flip and I appreciate all the love and support out there. Thank you so much for leaving all the comments and the likes on our YouTube videos. The YouTube page, the channel has been absolutely on fire recently, ramping up for the upcoming season. And, Flip and I are get more and more excited every single day as we get closer, as we inch closer to the start of the regular season. We're going to continue taking a look at some of these rookies as well. And I want to head over to the Central Division to look at these two rookies, Marco Rossi of the Minnesota Wild and Cole Perfetti of the Winnipeg Jets, both rookies in the Central Division. Rossi currently sitting at 12% owned on Yahoo Leagues, Perfetti at 17% owned. So getting a few looks, but definitely I think should be upward closer to the 20%. I think these two guys have an ideal opportunity for this upcoming season. Both guys are going to be cracking the top 6 forward group. It seems like it already is with Perfetti. He's going to be playing with Pierre-Luc Dubois, whether that's on the first or second line. It could go back and forth because that's what they did with the Winnipeg Jets last year. They really did mix those lines up a lot with that top 6 forward group. So he's going to be in the top 6 forward group, same as Marco Rossi, as he is going to be filling that role for Kevin Fiala in the middle slot. He's going to be playing with, it looks like, Matthew Boldy and Frederick Gaudreau on the second line for the Minnesota Wild. So both guys cracking the top 6 lineup. They're going to get that opportunity, like I said, on the power play, some penalty kill time as well. And for me, 40 to 50 points is reachable for both of these players. And like for what I said, when you consider about who they're playing with and being in the top 6 forward group, 40 to 50 points is definitely reachable for both these guys who have had an outstanding AHL career as well. They were dominant and absolutely stellar at the AHL level. And there's no doubt in my mind that both of these players will be sought after players for the next couple of seasons and many, many years to come. So keep an eye out on Marco Rossi. Keep an eye out on Cole Perfetti. They're going to be getting a ton of opportunity with both the Winnipeg Jets and Minnesota Wild. So again, those two rookies in the Central Division, 40 to 50 points is definitely attainable in my opinion. I really like both those guys in the Central Division, and for, a little bit of sprinkling some money on the Calder as well. I think they, aren't the best odds. Mason McTavish and we're going to get to it, Maddie Beniers probably are the best guys to sprinkle some money on for Calder wise, but they definitely have some great odds on Marco Rossi and Cole Perfetti. And that's actually who I want to go to next, are some of the Seattle Kraken rookies heading in this upcoming season. And I know I've talked at length about Mason McTavish. I know I've talked at length about Jack Quinn, Owen Power. We've already discussed those episodes. We've already discussed those players on previous episodes. They're going to get a ton of time too, especially Mason McTavish. He's going to be playing with Trevor Zegras and Troy Terry, maybe Jakob Silfverberg on the top line for the Anaheim Ducks. So I've already gone in depth with them. He's going to be a top player sought after this upcoming season in fantasy drafts and for many, many years, especially in keeper leagues. But I really wanted to talk about the Seattle Kraken rookies heading into this upcoming season. Shane Wright rostered at 19% currently. He's already on people's radars, but if he's not on yours, he should be. Put him on your watch list. I don't think this is a guy I would tend to draft in those last couple of rounds, just because I am not quite sure if he's going to be in the starting lineup or if he's going to crack the starting lineup for the Seattle Kraken. But if he's not in the lineup to start the season, or potentially when he does get called up, please have him on your watch list, ready to go. You're going to want to pull that trigger and picking Shane Wright up, because once he does get up into the lineup or to start the season, I don't think he's going to let that opportunity slip between his fingers. And he, from pretty much the draft, 2022 draft, he has a lot of people to prove wrong. He has a couple of franchises to prove wrong, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. So I think once he does get into the lineup, if he doesn't start the season with the Seattle Kraken, he's going to be a guy that you want to pick up almost immediately, because he's not going to let that opportunity slide, get away from him. So Shane Wright, 19%. Keep your eyes on him. But really, who I want to talk about, and I'm trying to keep this episode short. Trying to keep this episode short for you guys, it's Maddie Veneers. He looks absolutely phenomenal so far in the he's already gotten a taste, a small little sample size in the NHL. And so far, he was absolutely electric. 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points in 10 games for Maddie Beniers. He is currently sitting at 38% rostered, by the way, on Yahoo Fantasy League. So everyone, this kid is on most people's radars. If he's not on your radar, please. And if he's not on your radar and he's not been picked up or drafted in your fantasy league, put him on your watch list, because this kid is going to have an absolutely fantastic season. He's got all the opportunity right in front of him with the Seattle Kraken. I've already talked about Seattle, how I think they are going to be a way better team than they were last year. They're going to make their way up in that Pacific Division. And I really do believe they have that opportunity to be a better team with some of these young guys they have upcoming this season, as well as some of the guys they traded for this offseason as well. But again, he has probably the best opportunity right alongside Mason McTavish, fantasy-wise, being on the top line for his club. He's going to be, it seems like he's already found a little bit of chemistry so far in the preseason, playing alongside Ryan Donato and Oliver Bjorkstrand. So I like the opportunity he's getting. He is going to be the first-line centerman for the Seattle Kraken. And I really do just like this player coming into the upcoming season. He was in full control of his skill, his talent when he was playing for the University of Michigan, scoring 43 points in 37 games. Like I said, he already has a hot start to his NHL career, 3 goals, 6 assists in 10 games just last season. And like I said, he's going to be playing first-line minutes for the Seattle Kraken. He's found that chemistry so far in the preseason. He's got an absolute wicked shot, fast release. And like I said, for Marco Rossi and Cole Perfetti, 40 to 50 points is not out of the question for this young stud, especially playing, on the top line. He's going to get that opportunity on the power play, even potentially the penalty kill as well. Maddie Beniers is a guy to have on your watch list, and I would suggest to people even taking him in those last couple of rounds with your last 2-3 picks, because he is going to be one of those guys that goes a little bit early because he has that potential on that top line. So Maddie Beniers, a guy who I would for sure suggest for teams to draft in the later rounds of your fantasy draft. Shane Wright, I would just put him on your watch list. I know he's already rostered at 19%. I think that's a little bit high just because we don't know if he's going to crack the lineup to start the season, but a guy that I would have on my watch list in my fantasy league. So make sure you're taking a look at all of these rookies, guys who I didn't talk about on this episode, but Jack Quinn, Peyton Krebs, Owen Power, a lot of Buffalo Sabre guys, but Mason and McTavish. There's a lot more, Calder Trophy candidates who could be in the conversation, but these guys that I just mentioned, Shane Pinto, Jake Sanderson, Shane Wright, Maddie Beniers, Marco Rossi, Cole Perfetti, these are some of the guys that I really like their odds on for this upcoming season, winning the Calder Trophy, as well as just having that opportunity to kind of make an immediate impact with their franchise. So take a look at all of those guys, put them on your watch list. You don't have to draft them, but just make sure you're aware of the opportunity and, the opportunity that these rookies are going to get this upcoming season. I always try to find, some hidden gems in the later rounds of my fantasy draft, especially those rookies. Flip and I just talked about it, analyzing my second fantasy draft. I took Jack Quinn, Alex Newhook with my last 2 picks. So excited to see what those 2 guys bring. And again, if they don't work out to start the season, I'm able to drop them right away. And there's guys who have done it over and over again every single season, so I can pick them up almost immediately. I'm taking a shot right now with some of those rookies, but I really do believe that they're going to have a fantastic season. That about does it for this episode. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. For your second listen, though, go check out Locked On NHL. Locked On experts give you a daily 30-minute NHL podcast, all things NHL all year long. Stay up to date on everything in the hockey world. Locked On NHL, your daily 30-minute NHL podcast. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast, just like this one right here. So hit the subscribe, hit the follow button. Like I said, we see all the love and support out there. So thank you so much for all the subscribing, all the following on your favorite podcast platform. We appreciate all the love and support out there. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode of the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Have a great day. Good luck with all your bets out there, and we shall see you back here again tomorrow.